Hello, everybody. We will be reading Dark Day in the Deep Sea, Chapter 1, Back to the Sea. Jack felt raindrops. He looked up and saw a summer storm cloud. Hurry! Jack called to Annie. They were riding their bikes home from the library. Jack's backpack was filled with library books. He didn't want them to get wet. As Jack and Annie pedaled faster, a large white bird swooped over them and flew into the Frog Creek woods. "Did you see that?" cried Jack. "A seagull!" called Annie. "It's a sign." "You're right," said Jack. The last time they'd seen a seagull in Frog Creek, the magic treehouse was waiting for them. "The woods," said Annie. Jack and Annie bumped their bikes over the curb. The rain fell harder as they headed into the wet woods. Their bike tires bounced over the rough ground, crushing leaves and snapping twigs. "It must be time for another secret of happiness for Merlin," Jack called. "I hope Merlin's feeling better," shouted Annie. "I hope Teddy and Kathleen came with the treehouse too," shouted Jack. "Me too," shouted Annie. Jack and Annie steered their bikes under canopies of wet leaves. By the time they came to the tallest oak in the woods, the seagull had disappeared. But the magic treehouse was back. It was high on the tallest oak, its rope ladder swaying in the wind and rain. Jack and Annie climbed off their bikes and propped them against the trunk of the tree. "Teddy, Kathleen!" Annie shouted. There was no answer. "I guess they didn't come this time," Jack said. "Darn," said Annie. "I really wanted to see them." "Boo!" Two older kids looked down out of the treehouse window. A curly-haired boy with a big grin and a girl with sea blue eyes and a beautiful smile. Both were wearing long green cloaks. "Yay!" cried Annie and Jack. The rain fell harder as they started up the rope ladder. When they climbed into the treehouse, they yanked off their bike helmets and hugged Teddy and Kathleen. Sorry, hiccups. "Morgan sent us to tell you about your next mission for Merlin," said Teddy. "How is Merlin?" asked Annie. Teddy stopped smiling. He shook his head. "Merlin still suffers from an unspoken sorrow," Kathleen said sadly. "When can we see him?" asked Annie. "We've learned 2 secrets of happiness to share with him," said Jack. "You may visit him after you have learned 2 more secrets," said Kathleen. "Morgan believes 4 is the magic number that will ensure success. We have come to send you on your search for a 3rd secret," said Teddy. Kathleen took a book from under her cloak and handed it to Jack and Annie. "From Morgan's hands to our hands to yours," she said. Jack took the book from her. The cover showed waves crashing on a beach. "Wow," said Jack. "We're going to the ocean?" "Yes," said Teddy. "That is where you will next search for the secret of happiness." "The ocean always makes me happy," said Annie. "Once Jack and I traveled to a coral reef and swam with dolphins, and we ran into an octopus. But he was nice and shy, but the shark we saw wasn't shy," Jack broke in. It was a big hammerhead. Oh my, said Kathleen. We took a ride in a mini-sub, said Annie. It was so cool. Until it started to leak and said Jack. We had to escape, said Annie. Yeah, said Jack. We tried not to splash so the shark wouldn't notice us. We had so much fun, said Annie. Kathleen smiled. Well, I hope you will not find the same fun on I hope you will not find the same fun on this journey, she said. But in case you do, you have your wand to help you. Do you not? Asked Teddy, the wand of Dianthus. Of course, said Jack. I always carry it, just in case. Jack reached into his backpack and pulled out the silvery wand. It was shaped like the spiral horn of a unicorn. You remember the 3 rules? Asked Kathleen. Sure, said Jack. To make magic, we use a wish with only 5 words. And before we use the wand, we have to try our hardest, said Annie. And the wand can only be used for good of others, said Jack, not just ourselves. Exactly, said Teddy. I wonder who the others will be in this mission, said Annie. She looked at Teddy and Kathleen. Maybe you guys. I fear not, said Kathleen. You must find the 3rd secret on your own. Just remember to keep your wits about you, said Teddy. And listen to your heart, said Kathleen. Okay, said Annie. We'll tell you all about it when we see you again. Lightning flashed through the woods as Jack and Annie pointed to the cover of the ocean book. I wish we could go there, he said. Thunder cracked in the dark sky. The wind blew harder. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still.